Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lainey. Thank you so much for stopping by. As you can tell by the title of today's video, we're going to be talking about 10 palettes that are still on my wish list, so if you want to find out what those palettes are, then just keep on watching. Before we do that though, please remember to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video from me. Alright, so I am in my pajamas, as I said in the video I filmed before this. This makeup is like, it's been on for like 12 hours. But I felt like I was in the mood to film, and I want to film, and I just reapplied some blush and some lipstick, and we're gonna roll through it. Okay, so I have 10 palettes here that I would like to talk about today. I'll tell you about why I want them, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. Alright, so let's start talking about the 10 palettes. So first up, we have the Summer Days palette from Sydney Grace Cosmetics, and look, I'm not a neutral girl. I have the neutral palettes I have. I like them. I use them when I want to go for neutrals. But something about this palette, I have it on my laptop right here. Something about this palette I just love so much. The shimmers look so buttery and foiled. And the mattes look, I have the Danny's Dream bundle from them and I love them. And this palette just looks so beautiful. I love that there's a light and a deep color, or the light and the deep options, so you can use it according to your skin tone. I think it's a really pretty neutral palette, and if I ever am in the market again to buy another neutral palette, I would definitely grab this one because I love their quality. I love supporting indie brands, and this just looks so beautiful. Next on the list is the Midas Cosmetics Smoky Glow palette. I do know Smoky Glow is in a bit of drama right now. I really don't even know what it is. But anyway, this palette I've always thought was really pretty. I thought it was bigger than it needed to be. Like, there are some shades I could do without, like the white shade, the dark brown, and the doe-foot shade. I know a lot of people like the doe-foot shade, but I just don't go for dark shimmers. But I like this because my Modern Renaissance palette is getting very old, and at the end of the year I'm retiring it, and I feel like this would be a really great palette to kind of bring that palette back into my collection, so to speak. Just like the tones that I liked in that palette are in this palette, and I've heard great things about the formula. I believe this was Midas's first like custom formula, that like non-private label. I don't care that they private labeled now or before, but I am just intrigued to try it. I almost bought it on Black Friday when they had the sale on collab palettes, but I decided not to. I was bringing in a lot of eyeshadow, so I ultimately decided to go against it, but that is something that's still on my radar. Next up is the Glam Cake palette, and I have this on my list because, one, it looks beautiful. I like it as a rainbow palette because it has multiples of the different colors. And I also heard from a lot of people that this is a great palette. Like, people I trust, like Angelica Nikis and Amy Loves Makeup. This is like one of their favorite rainbow palettes, and I've heard a lot of great things about the Glam Light formula. My only holdup is I don't like that Glam Light's shadows. I don't know if this one does, but I know some of their other palettes, the shadows will leak, like the oils will seep out of the pan and into the cardboard packaging. And I don't know why, but that really bothers me. And, yeah, I haven't bought it for that reason, which I know is kind of a dumb reason, but something about like the possibility of the shadows leaking like bothers me. So, yeah. It's a really beautiful palette, and I don't like it's a big palette, but the packaging isn't the end of the world to me. And I really like that ube shade and the lavender and the carrot. Oh, the shimmers look so lovely. But yeah, I haven't bought it. Maybe I will down the line, but I just need to get over that feeling of like not wanting the shimmers to leak. Which I feel like they shouldn't, but I'm also not an eyeshadow formulator, so I don't know anything. Next one is one you might be surprised by, and that is the Urban Decay Stone Vibes palette. I want to know. I want to know what they feel like. I want to know how they perform on the eye. I want to know how they compare to like my beautiful shimmery indie singles that I know and love. I feel like they're not going to compare, but then at the same time I've heard good things about it. I don't know, but a lot of people got it in PR, and I feel like that's why I heard good things about it. I don't know. If it's ever on sale for like, okay, it's $54. If I could get it for half off, I would buy it. I also have quite a few Ulta points, so maybe down the line, if I'm redeeming my Ulta points and this is on sale, I could see myself getting it to try. But out of all the palettes I'm listing, this is probably one of the ones that I'm least likely to end up trying. Next up is Novella, which I would love to try any palette from Novella, but specifically the Dreamy 2 palette. I just love how deep and dark and like sultry it looks. And the swatches look so yummy, which is not something I would ever say, you know? Like, I wouldn't describe anything as yummy, but they look yummy. And I just like it. Again, this is one I almost bought when Ulta had Novella 35% off, I think it was, on Black Friday. I didn't end up getting it. Oops. I didn't end up getting it, but I almost did. I love all of the shades in it, except for the cream shade that I don't think needed to be in there. But man, is it beautiful. I love, it's different too, because it's so deep and dark. But also I feel like you could get away with like everyday neutral looks with it. Next up is the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette, and I love this color story. I don't know that I could ever spend $129 on a palette. It would have to be really special, and I would just be afraid that I wouldn't reach for this enough, because it's pretty dark tone leaning, and I go very light to mid-tone with my eyeshadow looks. Like this, I would not consider it to be very dark. So I think I might have trouble with this. If I were to buy it, I would go with the Alter Ego Artemis palette, I believe it's called. But for some reason, I never felt like I wanted to purchase that. So I think for that reason, this is probably another one that I'm most likely not ever going to reach for. There are some people in the hallway, so Scooter had to get up. But yeah, so I was talking about the Metropolis palette, and yeah, I really like it. I feel like I would have liked it if it was one of her $64, I think it is, that size palette. Because I do think also I would have trouble with the amount of shadows in this palette, because 28 is a lot for a palette. Next up is the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette. I love this color story. I'm also a Gemini. It's expensive, first off. It's $58, so I'd have to buy it on a sale. Also, I just don't feel comfortable buying Melt Cosmetics eyeshadows, because the palettes that were not mold, but people say they scraped it off and then it grew back, but Melt says it's just like a reaction with, like, I think the binder and the glue or something. I can't remember the exact thing. I just didn't believe it, and I'm really surprised more people didn't believe it. And I just am not comfortable with Melt's shadows. I know people love this palette, but I know they're also pretty hit and miss with their palettes. I don't know if I ever see myself buying Melt Cosmetics eyeshadows, because I'm just a little weary about them. I want to try them, but I just feel a little weird about trying their eyeshadows. Next is another surprising one, and this is the NYX Cosmetics Ultimate Utopia Shadow Palette. This, first off, no one needs 40 shades in one palette, but I just love the color story. And I love that there are some repeat shades, but not a lot. Like, each shade has its own purpose. And I love the golds and that green. Like, the shimmers just look so beautiful. But I've tried NYX shadows before. I had their Grind palette when they did their Steampunk collection, and I ended up decluttering that this year because I never reached for it. I think this Christmas it would be 3 years old, and I just didn't like the quality. They're not the easiest to blend, and they're kind of patchy. They just aren't my favorite. So for that reason, that's why it's on my wish list, because it's beautiful, but I don't think I could ever buy it because I just don't know that I trust the quality. I mean, if I could get this on a super good sale, maybe, but $35, I can't do it. I can't do it. Next is one I actually almost bought, and this is the Monet Jasper palette from M Cosmetics. If you watched my video I did on indie brands I would like to try, the M Cosmetics was on that list. The Monet Jasper palette looks beautiful. And I think the color story is beautiful. I love that there are 2 versions for different skin tones, but I don't know. Why didn't I buy this palette? I don't know why I didn't buy it. I think it's beautiful. I think part of the reason is it has a lot of dark shimmers, and I prefer lighter shimmers, and I feel like even with the two skin tone palettes, I feel like I would have to pull in a lot of shades for my collection, which I don't mind doing, but I felt like even then I would have to pull in a bunch of transition shades, and I wasn't the biggest fan of some of the shimmers, so I thought to myself that if I were to try M Cosmetics, I would rather try their singles, because all of these you can get as singles, so the shades I like I could buy on my own and then just build my own palette. So ultimately that's why I didn't buy it, but I do like the color story. I think it's really beautiful. I've heard great things about their matte formula. Their shimmers look really, again, like yummy. But yeah, maybe one day I will try the Monet Jasper palette or M Cosmetics, but I ultimately did not buy this palette. And we're coming up to the last one, and it is, sorry I've been looking this whole way, this is where my computer is. Is the It's Freakin' Bats palette, the Shroud Cosmetics and Butte Bean collaboration. The color story, beautiful, so unique. I feel like a lot of these shades I don't have. I think I could do a lot of pretty looks with it, but I feel like I would like this as singles as opposed to a palette, because I'm probably never going to use the dark purple or the dark blue shimmer. It's probably just not going to happen. So that's 2 shades. I would rather just buy the unique shades that I don't have in my collection, because I think that's just my preferences. I don't know what to say in this video. I've also heard some people weren't happy with their customer service during this whole launch, but that wouldn't keep me from buying from Shroud. In fact, I would love to try a lot of palettes from Shroud, the Divinity palette, the Arcana palette, maybe the Creepy Q palette, but I'm just not into pastels. I think it's a beautiful palette, and maybe I'll buy it somewhere down the line. I think $35 is pretty good for an indie 9-pan. So maybe I'll buy it one day, but at this point in time, I think I would rather have the shades as singles as opposed to a palette, and that's why I didn't buy it. Like that chartreuse matte, or that chartreuse shimmer, the green matte, the like really pretty purple and like dark teal, like they're so pretty, and would really bring something to my collection. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Anyway, those are the 10 palettes that are still on my wish list that I still totally love but haven't bought for one reason or another. Let me know any palettes that you have on your wish list that you haven't bought for one reason or another. Was it any of these palettes? I would love to know. Please remember to like and subscribe, leave a comment if you like, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!